Good morning for everyone in Europe and good afternoon to everyone in China. Welcome to today's USME Center webinar series. Very happy to see so many of you again at today's webinar. This is now already, well, almost our 20th webinar, and we're happy to see how the series is developing and how you're getting more numerous every week to attend the webinar series. I think most of you are now familiar to our webinar, but for those that aren't, I'd like to make you familiar with some of the functions you have on your webinar panel. On your left-hand side, you have a hand that you can click just to show us that you can actually hear us, and most of the time this is working, so I think we're quite sure that you can hear us. But also there are other functions. One of them is the question box, which you can see also in your panel, and don't hesitate throughout the webinar to ask any questions you may have, and we'll try to take as many of your questions during the webinar, and we'll otherwise follow up with you or ask you to log in into our website and log in your questions directly through our function of asking the expert. Quick reminder about the USME Center for those of you that are not very familiar to us. We're an initiative funded by the European Union to assist European SMEs to export and enter the Chinese market, and we're doing that through a series of free confidential information advice on several aspects of business development, legal aspects, conformity assessment and standards, as well as human resources. We provide, as I said, information advice in different areas, but we also do that not only through inquiries, but also by organizing trainings as well as activities such as today's webinar. Today's webinar will be focusing on a topic which we've been covering in the past, but which is extremely popular every time, on how to elaborate a preliminary due diligence in assessing your business partners in China. And for this, we have our market access advisor on legal issues, Ludmila Riklova. And for this, I'd like to invite and pass on the floor to Ludmila. So Ludmila, the floor is yours. Thank you for sharing your experiences.
Thank you, Benoit. Hello, everybody in Europe and in China as well, and welcome to our webinar. As Benoit mentioned, we held this webinar already in the past. Last time it was in August last year, but we have seen it as still as a very valid topic for everybody who is doing business in China, or moreover for those who are on the way to China. So what we will do during today's webinar, we would like to share with you information about most common scams which we have seen from our practice. Then we will introduce 6 steps of preliminary due diligence. We will talk about business license. We will mention a few information which will help you to make sure that you are talking to an authorized person or representative of your Chinese partner. We will touch importance of the company shop, mention a few of other mandatory documents which each Chinese company shall possess. We will share with you what information you can learn about financial status of the company, and as well about the operations. Before we start, we go directly into the topic of the webinar. I would like to ask Benoit if we can introduce our first poll.
Of course, Ludmila, and that's really to start gauging the audience and their experiences in doing business in China. So with this, I'm launching the first poll, which should appear on your screen just now. And the question is really about the experience that you've gathered so far in doing business in China. Of course, we understand maybe that some of you haven't done any business in China or have no experience yet, so that's the first answer. But most importantly, for those of you, answer B and C, that have already done business in China would like to see what has been your experience so far, if you've actually been through a smooth experience of doing business or whether you've actually encountered a number of problems. So I'm seeing that the answers are coming in. I give you a few more seconds. And with this, I'm just closing the questionnaire, but sharing also the experience of those attending. So you should be seeing the answers on your screen. So we see that quite a few participants that are with us today have had no experience in doing business in China so far, but from those of you that have experience, I can see that, well, more or less 60% have faced and encountered problems in the past. Is that in line with your experience, Ludmila?
Yeah, it is a line. And first, I would like to, I would say, I'm grateful that those of you who do not have any experience with China are listening to the webinar, so we can share with you the information which we hope will help you to minimize the risk when you come to the China or start to do business with the Chinese companies. As for those who are doing already business in China, I must say, unfortunately, that the percentage is corresponding to our experience. There are problems in doing business in China, but I mean, I must say there are problems in any other country as well. So let's go straight to the slides and to the information we would like to share with you today. So one more slide before we go to the guide or to the guidelines. Majority of the Chinese companies are honest and willing to develop sustainable business. It is a very important message which I would like to share with you at the beginning. However, there is a small number of companies, or not small number, it's a minority of the companies which are not that honest, and let's see how we can disclose their coverage. So here you can see 4 of the most often times of the problematic partners. They are either fake companies. It means that the company does not legally exist at all. Means it's not registered, it does not have any business license. Simply some person or group of the people get together and try to get advantage of unexperienced businessman from Europe or any other country, any other countries. The other option or other type of the problematic partners are paper tigers. Those companies legally exist. Usually they have a business license, but they promote themselves as a leading companies, which is not very often true. Means they are simply imposters. 4th type of the companies we call parasite companies. This partner or this company exists as well, but the risk cooperating with them lies in the fact that they heavily rely on their relationship with local government officials. Once such relationship breaks up, then starts the problems, and it's very difficult to continue in a successful business. 4th type of problematic partner company is shell company. This company legally exists as well, means it has a business license and all other required registration, but in fact it's an empty company, means it does not have significant assets or active business records. So with all those companies you can encounter during doing your business, and the preliminary due diligence usually in most of the cases shall help you to disclose those fake or any type of other companies. Here we put together a list of the common scams which we have put together based on our experience and the inquiries which we weekly or almost daily receive. First one is unsolicited request. Usually it comes in the form of the email which you are sitting back home in Europe, and you receive email offering very favorable conditions for doing business. Or goods is being sold far below market value. Very often seen. Or you have concluded contract, or you have a purchase order, but then you are asked to make a payment into an unknown bank account. By unknown bank account, we mean account which was not originally at the contract, or it was later changed. Last of the most common scams is you are asked to pay some facilitation fees or notary fees or administrative fees, unknown taxes, or pay for the gifts in order to make doing the business faster and smoother. Now, a few slides how the scam usually look like, how it starts. Foreign company gets unsolicited email from Chinese company offering to supply goods for a very low price, an exceptionally low price, such price that you cannot resist and you say it makes sense to continue. However, foreign company asks for samples. Samples are delivered, and quality of the samples is very good. It's very high. It's exactly what you needed and what you expected. Then you pay money to Chinese company. Goods is delivered, but it does not correspond to the original samples. Means it's a poor quality or worthless material. Then you continue contact your authorized person in Chinese company, but you cannot get in touch. It vanishes. Another option is fixer. Again, foreign company gets unsolicited offer from Chinese company to supply goods for a very low price. Then foreign company or the representative is invited to come to China, like for example attend the signing ceremony with the CEO or any other important even officials. You arrive to China, you participate at the expensive banquets, you pay for the processing fees, administration, taxes, and so on. And at the end of the day, business is not concluded, and Chinese company vanishes. Last of the options which we have seen is bank account. Relationship is formed between your company and a representative of legitimate Chinese company, either via email or at the trade show. I have the representative marked specifically here because it's not real representative. Yeah? Just simply parasiting on the business license of the honest Chinese company. Then a foreign company decides to buy goods from the Chinese company. Often a large order is placed as a good relationship has been created early. Then you are asked to send payment to non-Chinese company account. Usually it's an individual bank account or bank account of the individual. You pay, no goods is received, and again you cannot contact representative. Later, when you try to contact a Chinese company, you find out that nobody knows about that representative in the Chinese company, and then the person you were talking to is not an employee of the Chinese company. It was just attract to your few examples to attract your attention To the slides which will follow. Cases like this happen. We have seen it. There are a lot of companies which have a bad experience. So let's see what information can we find out. When people talk about the Chinese business partner, they usually think about either supplier or distributor, but it's not during the sales and purchase business. However, your Chinese business partner does not need to be only your supplier. It can be important. It can be agent. It can be even landlord of your office when you decide to establish a company here. It can be your potential joint venture partner or simply service provider like an accounting company. All those is worthy to examine and find some background information about them. Now, what is worthy to check? There is quite a lot what you can learn about your business partner. We will focus on three aspects: on the legal status, financial health, and operational conditions. Now, let's see what is available. It is quite a lot what you can check. China is a bureaucratic country, which is bad, but it is good as well, because for almost everything you will have some kind of permit or license, and all these things can be asked and checked. So let's use it. For the legal status, here you can see the options you have. Same for the financial status. We will touch each of these items later on in these slides. This is example of the business license. When you come to China and visit your partner, probably that kind of, let's say, picture you will see somewhere at the wall. However, when you ask your business partner or the potential business partner to send you a scan of the business license, you will receive something like this. Of course, for your information, it does not make much sense, at least for those who cannot speak Chinese. Therefore, we made a translation of one business license. So you can see what important information you can learn from that paper. So, if I start with the name, why name is important? First, it's obviously it's identification item, how to identify your partner. However, what is important to know is that only Chinese name of the company is official name. So therefore, when you come into the contact with your Chinese partner, notice well the name and each character of the name, and not only of the business card, but as well on the business license, on a purchase order, on any other document, official document, which you will later receive. We have seen cases when there was a difference in one or two characters, and the court refused to accept the case because simply it was the two different companies were involved. When it comes to the address, it is not only the identification identification point, but as well it makes sense when you have the address to come to China, or at least send someone to check whether the company really sit in the places where they have mentioned in the business license. There are cases, for example, that company is registered in some area claiming it's manufacturing company, but its registered seat is somewhere where there is no manufacturing area for the industrial park. Legal representative, it is very important information, because only this person is authorized from the law or by the law, act on behalf of the company.
Yes, Ludmila. Here I wanted to check with you, because does that mean that I have to make sure that the person with whom I'm negotiating my deal with be the same person indicated there in the business license, or how can I verify this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, usually when you come in contact with a representative or a person representing the company, it's not a legal representative. Of course, in ideal case, you negotiate directly with that person. However, especially in the large companies, you cannot insist that legal representative, who is usually either executive director or the general manager, um, negotiate each and every deal. However, if you come into the contact with a person who claims to be a representative, not exactly the legal representative, but the representative of the company, you shall ask that person to show you authorization letter or anything which proves that the company is related, is employee, and still is employee, not was months ago, 2 months ago, but still is employee of that company which you intend to do business with.
So when I'm verifying this and I get some information back, what should I look for? Should this letter, for example, have the stamp also of the company?
Yeah, exactly, Benoit. You shall have the stamp of the company. It shall have the name of the legal representative, because it should be that person who will sign the authorized letter or authorized power of attorney to the representative who negotiates with you.
Thank you.
When we go to the other points, to the numbers, registered capital is the number of the liability of the company. Most of the companies are in the form of limited liability company. And of course, it shows the size of the company. For your information, minimum registered capital for the limited liability company in China is 30,000 RMB. For companies when there are 2 or more investors, or 100,000 RMB when there is only one investor. However, those are only minimums, and usually in practice, the registered capitals are higher depending on the location and depending on the size of the business and the business scope. Type of the registration, it's important, but not that much for doing the due diligence. However, what is very important is the scope of the business. Business scope is a list of all activities which company is allowed to conduct, to operate. So, for example, if you are looking for an importer, you have a goods or the products which you would like to sell in China, and you are looking for someone who import your product to China. You need to be sure that the company has import-export license, and you will find it out from the business license, from the section business scope. Same if you wish to cooperate directly with the manufacturer and the company you are going to conclude a contract with does not mention anything about manufacturing of anything in the business license, then you will probably do not deal with the manufacturer yourself, but you deal with some mediator or supplier or reseller. Shareholder, it's a mother company of your partner, so depends what potential size of your business is. You should be interested in doing due diligence on that mother company too. Term of business. It's important information to notice as well, because if, for example, you intend to cooperate for next 10 or 15 years, and the term of business of your partner is going to expire next year, then you probably need to ask few questions to him, how they intend to prolong the business license and so on. What are their plans? Date of establishment. There are a lot of let's say young companies which claim, for example, they have a distribution network all over the China, but they were established in February 2013. So that information is somehow doubtful, and it shows that it is some of the type, as we mentioned at the beginning slide, some of the paper tigers. What is as well important information to notice is annual inspection or the stamp made by Administration of Industry and Commerce. Chinese companies have to every year undergo something what is called annual inspection. This is a check of all their documents, business license, financial statements, tax registration, organizational code, everything, all the documents has to be verified and checked. This check usually falls between March and July. So now we have April, so the annual check for the year, for the previous year, 2012, is on the way, and it will be finished June, July this year. Register. It is good to know, because then if you are interested to check some documents like articles of association or financial statements or changes in the board of directors, you can visit directly the place where the company is registered, and you can see the papers, the hard copies, or in most cases.
I have a quick question following this one, not specifically on the registrar, but more generally on the business license. You mentioned that this is typically a document coming in Chinese, and there will not be any equivalent in English. We've done here a translation of a sample business license. But if I'm a SME in Europe and I receive this document in Chinese, what is your recommendation? I mean, if I don't have any idea about characters, should I work with some translators, or who would be typically the best person to help me with this verification?
Yeah, that's a very practical question. Yeah. You are right. I mean, the solution is either you have someone at your home country which can speak Chinese and understand what is written on the business license, or second option is you can send the business license to us. We don't usually do the whole translation, but what we can do here in the center, we check whether the business license is still, how to say, valid, or the information on the business license corresponds to the records which are in the internet database of the Administration of Industry and Commerce. What is as well recommended is to use services of the local legal advisors. In the center we have a database, service providers database, which you can use free of charge, and you can find your legal advisor directly from that database.
Thank you, that's very useful.
Yeah, now few information to the business license, in addition what I have said already. The business license in most cases and information contained there can be checked in the online database of Administration of Industry and Commerce. It is simply commercial register of all companies. Below you can see the websites of the State Administration of Industry and Commerce, which is central government level, the highest level. However, most, and those are the websites. This slide shows the websites, how the websites of the state administration looks like. Of course, it's all in Chinese, and in this big database, you can find only the large companies like Bank of China, which you are usually not cooperated. However, what is more useful for you are the local provincial websites. What is not much convenient currently is that each province or each large municipality like Beijing or Shanghai, they use their own databases which are not unified. They are not interconnected to each other. So for example, if you cooperate with a company which is registered in Shanghai, you cannot find it in most cases in large central database, and definitely you will not find it in the Beijing database. So here we are showing the websites of the Hebei Administration of Industry and Commerce. You can see that search looks quite simple. I mean, even it is Chinese, but it's not such a big problem for someone who can speak Chinese. You can search based on the business license number or by the name. We mentioned few positions of the individuals like legal representative or the authorized person. All those individuals should have an identification card. So when your relationship is established well, you can ask your contact point or the person who is going to sign the contract with you to provide you with copy or with the scan of the ID card. There is one institution which is called the National Citizen Identity Information Center. Of course, they will not provide you with all information, personal data about the person you are talking to, dealing with. But what they can do is they verify name and the number of the ID card if it matches together. And in some cases, they are able to send you even a picture of the person who corresponds to the name of the ID. So you can see if the picture and the person you are talking to matches together.
Here, maybe we'd like to launch a second poll, just also to gauge your knowledge and how mature before we pass to the next element. So I'm going to share the second poll with you just in a few seconds. So what the question on this poll, which should appear on your screen just in a few seconds, is what is actually making a contract valid? Is it A, the signature of the legal representative, B, affixing the company stamp, or C, the signature of the legal representative and both the affixing of the company stamp, so both. So looking for the answers coming in. I've had already quite a few answers coming in. I'll let you a few more seconds. I can see that a lot of you seems to be quite familiar with what is necessary. Ludmila, I think that's your impression also. I'm closing now the poll, and I'm just sharing the results. So with 76% of the attendees which are indicating both the signature and the stamp.
Yeah, you are right. It's quite impressive because it shows that a lot of you are very experienced. However, I must say, and I apologize, this question was a little bit misleading, and I will explain you how. Of course, the best and highly recommended option is the ones which you vote for, most of you vote for, means signature of the legal representative and affixing a company stamp. However, in some cases, even affixing of the company stamp can be sufficient, and in some cases, even signature of the legal representative can be sufficient. the signature of the legal representative can be sufficient when the contract itself directly says that the contract is valid after legal representatives sign. But I would really recommend you to insist on both signature of the legal representative and the company stamp. But it may be a case that, for example, when you deal with a large corporation, legal representative might not be available for signing each contract. Therefore, the contract might be signed by authorized person. However, it is you shall insist that as an attachment to the contract is submitted power of attorney from that legal representative to the person who is in fact signing the contract. So now more about the company stamp and its importance in China. First, notice even it is the characters and it's difficult to recognize. Try to insist that the chop is readable, so you can compare name in the chop in the stamp and name at the business license with other names appearing at the banking account details and so on. Then how the chop shall look like. You see 5 pointed star in the middle and in a red ink, and it shall be a round, in most cases round, chop with no more than 4.5 centimeters diameter. You can check the stamp and the information related to the company chop and the local public security bureau where the company is registered. Now again, to stress why the company chop is not important, it equals to signature of a person authorized to sign on behalf of the company in Europe. So, yeah, this was about the company stamp. Now we go to other mandatory documents. Business license is not only paper which each company has to own. If you, for example, go to China to establish a representative office or a BUFI or joint venture, you would be interested whether your place of the business, of the future business, is suitable and is not suitable, but is allowed to be rented as a commercial premises. We have seen cases where the WUFI or the foreign investor was applying for the business license of wholly owned foreign invested company, and a part of the documents which needs to be submitted to the commercial bureau is rent contract for the premises. So they put all together all the paperwork and went to the Bureau of the Commerce to submit the application, and only then they find out that the contract they signed is not for the premises which can be used as a commercial for the commercial purpose. So means they had a contract which was of any use, rent contract which was of no use for them, and they have to start application process from the very beginning. On the importer, not only the importer has to have import-export license, as we mentioned at the beginning, but in case you are importing a certain type of the goods, that type of the goods is subject to some license or some quotas, you have to be sure that that importer has such quota or license for that specific product. On the other hand, when you are dealing with the supplier, some goods has to have certificates or special, or the supplier, manufacturer shall have special permit for manufacturing such a product. For example, medical devices. Or when you are exporting from China, very often in some types of the products, the report from the quarantine and the commodity inspection bureau is requested. As regards the distributor, there is some special license for certain type of the products as well, for example the food. So you shall check whether the company you are going to conclude a contract with has that special permit. Same service provider, typically accounting company. Now, just give to break to your eyes from viewing heavy text. There are some pictures which shows how the property ownership certificate looks like and how land use land use right certificate looks like. This is mentioned permit for food distribution. Now, the largest part about the legal status is finished, and we move to the information about financial health of the company. So the first of the documents which you may ask for is creditworthiness letter. Depends on your relationship with your business partner. You ask for the company, you ask the company you are talking to directly to provide you with a creditworthiness letter, and you may ask the same for the shareholder or for the shareholders.
Here, Ludmila, I think it's what specifically am I expecting as I'm asking a creditworthiness letter? What exactly is it, and what should I see on it?
I see. The creditworthiness letter, it's a paper or it's a confirmation issued by the bank of your partner, and the information. Bank of your partner means where the partner has a business account, has company account. And the bank confirms that, for example, this and this company has account with that bank, and that the money in some cases depends on the bank itself, and that the balance of the money in the account exceeds by a certain date this and that amount. So basically, this is like a certification from the bank of your business partner. Of course, it's not a paper which you can ask the bank directly to issue, but it has to be the partner himself to ask his bank to issue that paper.
Understood.
Then another document certifying the financial status is the capital verification report, financial statements and audit reports. Capital verification report is a paper which certifies that registered capital was already contributed to the company. Of course, it does not mean that the capital still sits on the accounts, but at least it shows some effort and some status in certain moment of the company life. Financial statements and audit reports, they have to be filed at the Administration of Industry and Commerce, a local branch where the company is registered. When your legal advisor comes visit that AIC, it very much depends on his or her relationship with that AIC. Because especially recently we have seen cases where the AIC offices are a little bit reluctant to offer that type of information. One important point which I probably haven't mentioned at the beginning, when you would like to check directly in China and the local branch of AIC some documents, then it's not impossible for you to go yourself. It has to be your lawyer, Chinese lawyer, and he has to present some documents or some certificates which shows that he has a reason to check the information about the company. Another paper which can be obtained about the credit history of the company, but again has to be applied by partner itself, is a certification from Credit Reference Center of the PBOC, which shows information whether the company was or is in debt. And of course, it's not exactly the information about the financial health of the company, but each company shall have a bank account. There is no reason when you are concluding contract with the company later on to pay on the individual bank account.
We've just gone through quite a few slides, and all that seems like really quite a lot of information, in fact, to require from your partner. And actually, we've received quite a number of questions from some of the participants asking, is it really realistic to expect that your business partner will provide all this information? Do I not risk to actually ruin the business before it even starts? Am I not going to make them lose face, etc.?
That's a very valid question. What we present here are a lot of documents, a lot of paperwork. Of course, during the first two meetings or exchange of the emails, you will probably not ask, provide me with your financial statements, audit reports, so you have to face it depending how far you are with the negotiations. However, business license, creditworthiness letter, copy of the ID card of the legal representative, or other permits, like for example, distribution permit or land use right or premise certificate. They are very normally asked between Chinese companies themselves, and the Chinese partners will not feel offended at all if you ask such information to provide. Of course, you shall be prepared to provide the same information about yourself.
That's quite useful, and as you said, the bureaucracy can be quite burdensome. It's got its disadvantages, but it also presents its advantages in these kind of cases. So, beside all the paperwork, what can I do next? What are the next steps that I should take to actually verify the reliability of my partner?
Yeah, you are right, Benoit. Paperwork is one part. It's very obvious, but what is probably same important is to see and verify everything on your own eyes, or at least on the eyes you trust to. So the last part which we would like to cover is company operations. If I'm not mistaken, the ticket from Europe to China and back is not very expensive now, and I think it really pays off to buy an air ticket here and verify whom you are doing business with to experience it yourself. So pay a visit at the company premises. You have the business license, you have the business card, you may have other contact details. So come and visit the company premises. Of course, at the beginning you will make an appointment, but we have seen cases where some of even the factories were assembled and disassembled within a few weeks. So visit the premises of the company not only when you make an appointment, but go unannounced too. When you are paying a visit, notice the organizational structure. pay attention how the premises are clean or not clean, what conditions are, what are the employees' conditions, where the premises are located. Is it in the logistic park? Is it on some suburb where no other companies are located? All this should make the sense to you. If you need, if you are exporting your goods, your products to China, try at least visit few of the shops and the distribution, at least part of the distribution network. When visiting the company, talk with the employees and pay attention whether they understand their business. You are a businessman yourself and you expect from your employees to understand what they do. So you shall, expect the same from the others. What is worthy as well is talk to suppliers, neighbors, and competitors of your potential business partner, especially the Chinese one, because it's more difficult for the Chinese company to deceive the Chinese company. Sometimes the companies are members of some professional associations, so if you have that information available, you may try that contact too. Now we are slowly coming to the end of our presentation, and there are a few quick tips which might attract your attention and show or signal that something might not be in order. If it is too smooth, if you are pushed to concluding the contract within 2 days, or because the CEO is leaving on Friday and you need to sign the contract on Friday because after the weekend it will be already late. Try to think one more time if it is really necessary and if it pays off to hurry up. Then a few times during the presentation we mentioned the importance of the bank account. Always check whether the names of the company, names of the representative matches each other. On the purchase order, when you are going to transfer the money, whether the bank account is at the same name as the name on the contract, as the name on the business license. Notice websites. If the websites are in the English language, it signifies some trouble because those companies are oriented solely to do the business with the foreign companies. It does not need to be bad, but normally Chinese companies has a first Chinese websites and they are translated to the English, so they have bilingual. Have you been provided with fixed phone line? Try to call a few times. Notice as well the email address. If it is a company, most of the companies, it's not a rule, but most of the companies, they have a company email address. If you are communicating via email, via the phone, is the contact person still the same one or the person are changed? What's the communication style? Because it may happen that at the beginning you are really talking to the employees of the company, but then later on the employee may forward your contact details to some of the friend, and then instead of finishing or concluding the business with the company, you finish with some friend of the former employee. Now we go to the final slide, and this is what we would like if you brought from today's webinar. Don't take company sub-interaction at face value. Collect and scrutinize the company's paperwork. Operations, keep personal visit. Do not rush. Have trusted person in the spot if possible. Keep paying attention to its recent situation and ask local professional advice. this is recommended reading. You can download this brochure from our website. There are all the information and more which what we mentioned during today's webinar. And final quote. Okay, so this was the last slide from my side.
Thank you very much, Ludmila. I think that's a lot of food for thought, and it's very practical advice. I think that's why this is one of the topics which most companies and SMEs back in Europe are referring questions about to us on a weekly basis, as you mentioned. We received a number of questions. We're a bit tight on time. I think we've tried to answer as many of the questions during the webinar itself, but I will maybe raise a couple of other questions which I think are useful to refer to, which could be useful for the audience. The first one is a question which is coming from another number of companies saying they're referring to some of the first slides we were talking about on companies vanishing after starting and initiating discussions, negotiations, even some business deals, even after receiving samples or the whole cargo. What to do then? What are your recommendations? What should I be doing in terms of steps to try to recover my money, or is this a possibility at all?
I see. It very much depends what you have in hand. Yeah, so you first have to review what contract you have, if you have a contract. Then you shall have a look whether the contract is valid, means whether it has a company stamp and so on. Then you put all the information, for example, for the payment order together and try to contact a Chinese lawyer and to submit all those papers to them and to ask them whether it makes sense to pursue either through the litigation or the arbitration. In most cases, what will follow is that the legal advisor will go to the AIC and will check the business license whether the company exists or not. So, I mean, in short, you shall put all the paperwork together, contact the legal advisor, Chinese legal advisor here in China, and only afterwards decide whether you go for the arbitration or the litigation. In some cases, it would even make sense to report if it is a scam or the fraud to the Public Security Bureau. Okay, I think that's quite useful. There is also another question I'd like to ask. A company here which is dealing with a company which is based in Hong Kong. All the information are related to a company in Hong Kong, yet all the contacts they have are with employees and business partners in China. How should they deal with that? Is that legitimate, or is it normally something they should be careful about? Yeah, I would be very probably careful. It does not need to be a case that it's fraud or something. But the reason why the Chinese companies or Chinese entrepreneurs doing via Hong Kong in most cases is that establish a company in Hong Kong is very fast and it's cheap. So what they do, they establish company in Hong Kong, but the goods is from the China. So when you continue dealing with such a company, you shall be sure that the Hong Kong company is not only the shell one, that it has some assets. So you shall ask your partner to provide you not only with the business license, but with the other financial documents as well. As well, you pay attention to what banking account you pay. So, because for example, if you conclude a contract with the Hong Kong company, but later on pay to account which is placed in China or even in some other places, then it will be difficult to recover your money back. Yeah. And then there is maybe time for one final question, which is regarding financial information. Companies asking how reliable financial information is when it's provided by Western credit information companies. By Western credit companies. Actually, I have not seen much such information, and if Western credit companies, you mean, I'm not sure exactly what that Western credit companies are doing, but I have not seen any official Western credit company putting together reliable information about the Chinese company. So if something, I would take it only as a reference, but still go to the AIC here in China, and moreover ask for the creditworthiness letter, and see in your own eyes. I mean, to check the reliability of the company.
And in fact, you've really provided a lot of tips and advice on all documents to refer to. So I think that will be extremely valuable for all SMEs participating. Thank you very much, Ludmila, for all this information and sharing your experience. Thanks for everyone else, also for our participants today for attending today's webinar. As mentioned, I think we've tried to answer all questions during the webinar, but if there are any additional questions, don't hesitate to log into our website and pose them directly on our Ask the Expert function. And of course, a lot of the questions you may have is also addressed in the documentation, which you can access through the website. You have to be logged in before you can download the information, but I think the information is extremely worthwhile, the few minutes it will take you to register on the platform. So finally, again, I'd like to thank you, Ludmila, and also every participant of today. I'd like to refer you again to our website, usmecenter.org.cn, where you'll be able to find all the information and resources we mentioned earlier. And then finally, I would like to invite again all participants to answer to the short survey which will follow today's webinar. As this is extremely helpful for us to continue improving our services and the webinar series. So thank you very much for this, and we hope to see you in quite numerous next week and the following weeks in our next webinars. Thank you very much. Until next week then. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.